Good afternoon and welcome to the February 16, 2019 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. You know, it's so sad to me that sometimes very important biblical passages we just don't understand. We read it and we just don't quite get it. An example of that is in the book of Hosea, chapter 6, verse 6. You may remember this verse, so you may have heard it before. It says, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. I want the knowledge of God rather than burnt sacrifices. Now, a lot of people don't know what the heck that even means. And I was struck because I happened upon that verse recently as it is translated in the Message, which is the version of the Bible by Eugene Peterson, which tries to put the Bible in very common everyday language. I know a lot of people have gotten a lot of help out of that. I have some problems with it, frankly, but I was struck by that translation because that makes it sound so much as if it's a person speaking that. Because the way he said it, the way he translated it, Eugene Peterson in the Message was, I want steadfast love, not more religion. And I'm thinking, that makes it sound like he's talking about a person, a human being. Those words were not uttered by a human being, my friends. Those words of Hosea 6:6 is God's words. And it's important that we understand what that means, because twice this is how Jesus responded to Pharisees who were criticizing him and his disciples. In Matthew, you will see in two separate occasions he quotes Hosea 6:6 as his reply to these unjust criticisms, and says if you understood what that meant, you would not be leveling these criticisms at me and my disciples. So what is Hosea 6:6 really talking about? It's God, through his prophet Hosea, explaining what God, wants out of us. Mercy is really steadfast love. God wants us to be loving more than he wants particular rituals. When he talks about knowledge of God, he's talking about the acknowledgement of him from people, not wanting more understanding of God. He is God. He understands himself. He wants us to live every day understanding and acknowledging him. One version says that I want the knowledge of me. That is a much better translation and understanding of this verse. God wants us to understand and to know him. I want my people to know me, rather than simply go through rituals that are worshiping somebody they don't even truly understand or know. You know, it is so important that we not just say, yeah, I believe in God and I love God. Well, you can't love somebody you don't really know. You can't trust somebody you don't understand. You have to know somebody in order to have the kind of intimate relationship that God wants. And if you're just going through the motions, even if they're well intentioned, of worship, however you deem that, whatever your religious tradition is, and you don't truly understand God, you don't know him like you know a best friend, like you know a spouse, there's a problem, because you're worshiping something you don't know, somebody you don't know. It would be the same as if you were married to a stranger. So what does God want? God wants you first and foremost to acknowledge him in all things and to understand him. And yes, I'll tell you, when you truly understand God, there's no way you can't love him, because he is just so downright lovable. There's nothing not to love in God. And if you ever think you found something in God not lovable, may I tell you something? You need to dig a little deeper. You need to research some more, because there's a misunderstanding.